Tuesday, June 29th. I'm Rem.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, shock.
It was shock.
Let's do this.
So it seems like there's a big argument in the forum about the World Cup, but it seems like all the people from Europe are having a very different argument from the rest of us.
I don't know if we should talk about this on Tuesday. Let's not talk about soccer balls.
Oh, but it's gaming. I mean, sports are games. We made a big deal about that in the early Geek Nights. Like, hey, someone who's into sports is no different from someone who's into Counterstrike.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've done most of our sports show on Thursday though. So let's save it. Let's talk about my balls instead.
As in your testicles, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't unprecedented, so what do you got for me?
I don't know. I was sitting at work today. I'm in front of my desk, and then suddenly the left ball was just like, "Hey, Scott, ow."
Really, the left one?
Yeah, and then it said, not ow anymore. And then it said ow again, and then it said,
Are you sure you weren't sitting on it?
I checked that, yeah.
You weren't like askew? I mean, sometimes
I checked that too.
They'll kind of hang, like if you have too tight of an inseam, they'll kind of hang to either side, and that's no good.
No, I checked it all out.
All right.
So I went on the internet, and it said, if your nut hurts, you might have twisted nut, which means go to the hospital fucking now or you're going to lose your nut.
Twisted nut sounds like perhaps the most horrifying
you want me to get
thing
out?
that could ever happen.
Let me get the...
I mean, I had a redescended testicle once when I was in elementary school.
The
Kid punched me in the nuts, and I fell over and almost passed out, and then I vomited, and then I had my testicle was up there.
The actual name is testicular torsion. If you have testicular torsion, it's a medical emergency. But apparently, it's way, if you have that, your nut's going to be hurting real bad a lot.
Or
and it'll be inflamed.
Scott, there's another thing that could have happened. Your nut. Oh my, I'm motion dead.
No, I don't think so.
Your nut is already dead.
It could result in a bruise. Maybe I bruised my nut.
Yeah, but you didn't bike today, did you?
I don't know.
You don't know if you biked.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Because it was too warm, and also I woke up late.
Warm
and also, everything outside today smelled so bad.
Today, I love New York City, and luckily I avoided most of the only places that smell bad in my commute are right outside of Queensboro Station, and then the hallway out of the 7 train in Grand Central. It smelled like flowers everywhere else.
I don't know. 'Cause the thing is, both ends of the subway were so smelly, and I didn't go anywhere else, right? So even your living room smells because the bad smell is floating in through the window.
Yeah, the thing is, it'll rain soon.
It looks like it's starting to rain a little bit.
It's gonna rain.
But I see the sun out there, so who knows?
Can have a sun shower.
But yeah, I hate it when it's hot and it doesn't rain for a long time. That's when the bad smells get really bad because the trash goes out there. The trash gets evaporated and melts. And you have melted trash, and everything. The bacteria get to work faster. Before they get in the garbage truck, and it's just bad news all over.
So, this is actually really kind of big gaming news, though anyone who pays attention would know. But I know a lot of you kids just play new games like Team Fortress 2 and Halo, I guess. Counterstrike, one of the most popular, if not the most popular FPS in the history of gaming, was updated. Actually updated. They added stuff to it.
Yeah,
now,
they didn't just give, they've made a whole bunch of patches to it. It's always been fully supported. If they found a bug in it, they would always fix it, even up to today.
I don't know how many of you realize that Counterstrike and Counterstrike Source, original Counterstrike still has a surprising number of players. Probably more than Tribes 2 does. But Counterstrike Source is, to this day, as far as I can tell, one of the most played FPSs online. I mean, you go to Team Fortress 2, and you look at the server list, and there's a lot of servers going on, but a lot of them are empty, a lot of them are achievement servers. You want to play Counter-Strike? There are a fuck ton of servers.
Yeah, the original release of Counter-Strike, June 1999. That's 11 years old.
And the thing is, Counter-Strike has there have been very few changes to it. It had its beta a long time ago, and I remember when they took the P90 out, as in...
All the biggest changes happened in the betas and the very early 1.0 series, right? So, in the betas, they were changing shit like crazy, putting the gun in, taking the gun out.
I remember
P90 hoses everyone down. P90 is normal.
The day they added that, it was the best thing in the world, because I joined a server later in the night, and everyone's like, no P90s, no P90s, no P90s. So I bought a P90, and it basically was the god machine. I was like Neo. I just walked around and everybody died.
Yeah. And then after like 1.0, 1.1, the biggest changes were map changes. They changed. They added CS Thunder, they took out CS Thunder. They added Dust 2, they took out Estate,
Well, I'm going to save this. I want to make a whole thing of the day about the sad story of CS Thunder.
I mean, they basically took out all the maps I liked.
So, actually, there was a trap.
Like Vegas and Estate.
2 days ago, I was playing Counterstrike, right? And what do I see in the map list? Thunder. And I'm like, what the fuck? But it was DE Thunder. I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that right away. But I'm like, Thunder, oh my God. So I click on it and I join. It's some fucking like Icy World style crap map.
Fuck that guy.
That guy probably has no idea what he did to me. That the equivalent feeling
he doesn't know that there's already a Thunder.
The equivalent feeling would be way back in the day when I walked into like an EB and there was a display that said Tribes 2, and I walked over to it and picked up a box and discovered that the box was in fact empty, and it was in fact a promotion for the games that was going to come out in like a month.
No, what was inside that box?
Nothing.
A spring-loaded boot.
Spoiled dreams, broken promises.
Yeah. Anyway.
But Counter-Strike was updated. Now, no one saw this coming except people who paid attention. There was a beta for a while. I actually joined the beta and played it. The beta of this new release.
Oh.
But when I first heard there's going to be a Counter-Strike update, and the first thing I saw was we're adding over 100 achievements, I was pretty sure that Valve was about to make the biggest mistake they could ever possibly make and ruin Counter-Strike the way they ruined Team Fortress 2. It's not true. They added achievements, but they don't have any effect on the game at all.
All right, so you can just ignore them.
You can ignore them.
And the thing is, it might have a slight negative effect on the pubs, though, because you'll see players...
No, it won't, because if some other player is trying to knife me in the back... He's getting a P90 in the face.
I guess that is true, right? I guess Counter-Strike is a game that is constructed in such a way, whereas if you try to go for the achievement instead of going to win, you're just going to get killed. But what if all your teammates are being stupid and trying to knife the other team in the back? Well, then you lose because your team is shit.
The thing is, Counter-Strike is one of those games...
That happens anyway.
The skill cap is so
change.
high. If you are good enough, you can single-handedly overcome an entire team of team-flashing jerks. I'll admit, I still enjoy the occasional team flash. Especially if I'm like leading the team, like I'm the good guy, like everyone's listening to me. And then like one round, I just team flash and then team kill someone. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, sorry, my bad. I didn't mean to do that. They're like, you didn't mean to team flash and then shoot me in the head at the spawn point. I'm like, yep, finger slipped.
But it was a single headshot with the deagle. How was that a slip? That's one lucky slip.
Nah, the last time I did that, I had a P9, or not a P90, stuck on the P90. I had the para, and I basically shot him in the head until he was dead and then stood over the body shooting.
According to Wikipedia, the system requirements for Counter-Strike are a 500 megahertz processor and 96 megabytes of RAM.
Man, no wonder none of you guys play Counter-Strike.
Who has 96 megabytes of RAM?
But Firefox uses more than that. So they added 144 achievements. I keep getting them. I don't know what they are. They added lifetime stats, which is going to be real. I would give.
Why couldn't I have that going back in history?
Why couldn't I have this from back when I was?
Give me some retroactive lifetime stats.
I would kill like the CLQ. It was great to go into a website.
The thing is, I would have so many kills. But I would have so many more deaths because I always play Counter-Strike in sort of a kamikaze fashion.
Yep. Scott's the one who has the MAC-10 and comes around the corner, guns blazing.
It's like, hold the button down. Let's go.
They added tons of other like match stats, like individual match stats, not just lifetime stats.
So basically, these are all the things that mods used to add.
Yeah, they have an MVP for each round. It says what you did, like Rim killed 8 terrorists with the deagle, that sort of thing. They added a scoreboard with icons for players. Your little icon is there. And stars.
Oh, can I choose my icon?
I think it uses your Steam icon.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Also, they added a cinematic death camera that zooms out and shows you who killed you, what they killed you with, more stuff that mods were doing.
Because the death cam they had one, but it wasn't that great.
No, now it's great. They added the domination revenge system, which they had in Team Fortress, which actually, it works pretty well. Because
what is it?
So, say I'm using the sniper rifle like the bitch whore asshole jerk that I am.
All right.
I use the auto sniper all the time. I'm that guy. So say I killed the same guy like 5 times. It is like, Rim is dominating Penis Jerk 9.
It doesn't actually do anything. It just says,
It just says
it.
that, and now it flags us, so it flags him as dominated by me, and it flags me as dominating him. But if he kills me, it's like, Penis 9 got revenge on Rim.
So it's just a style thing.
Just a style thing.
All right.
Like, it kind of adds the grudges to the game.
Okay.
And it does it pretty well. And I'll admit, one achievement took me a little bit off guard. I was kind of pleased by this. So I was camping. We're playing a nuke. And I'm camping. And there's a guy on the other side. And he's also camping. And we're like way the fuck across. Like he's inside that little shack. Inside of the building. I'm inside the other building behind a crate. And I'm zoomed in. And I see something. I'm like, is that a guy? And then I click. And someone died from a headshot. And then I got this achievement that was basically killing an enemy sniper who was zoomed in on you with a sniper rifle that was zoomed in on him. And I was like, all right. And basically the point of this, they added a bunch of other stuff. They did not change any fundamentals of the game. They just added polish. They didn't ruin anything. They didn't take out the AWP. They didn't do any bullshit. They just made an existing game incrementally better without actually changing the fundamental game. My hat is off to you.
That's good. I hope that, obviously the achievements, they do cause a problem, but it wasn't a problem that didn't already exist, which is on pub servers, people don't play for the team win. So what do the achievements do? Well, they're going to make pub servers play even less for the team win.
I don't know if they will
can
much.
you possibly play less for the team win than Counter-Strike players already?
Dude, you've already taken the bomb as a terrorist and thrown it behind a crate in the start and are now hiding behind said crate with a para.
With a flash, and you're ready to team kill anyone who tries to come and get it. Right? So, it's not making a problem worse, but if the problem didn't exist, it would create the problem. And they haven't ruined the game, so it's the same Counter-Strike, but hopefully this will get some people to, move back to Counter-Strike.
Oh yeah, and Counter-Strike now works on the Mac, which explains all the people who don't know how to play at all that have been flooding the pubs lately.
They'll probably have really bad aim with their shitty mice.
Oh my god. The only thing that would be better is if I could play against some kid on an Xbox.
Oh yeah, that'd be the best.
That'd be awesome.
It came out for the original Xbox.
Yeah. Imagine a sniper, kind of pivoting slowly with his analog stick towards you. I'd run around him in a circle. I can run around him faster than he can scope.
But he could push the flip 90-degree button.
Oh, so he flips 90 degrees. I change direction.
I mean 180 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
here's
the real point of this news. A lot of you out there complain, Rim and Scout only play the old games. Everybody's only playing the old games. Do you understand how crazily popular Counter-Strike is to this day? There's a reason. If you have never played Counter-Strike, you should try it out. There's a reason it is so enduringly popular.
Yep.
So yeah, any other gaming news?
Oh shit, gaming.
Yeah, gaming news.
That was the news.
That was the news.
So, in the epic
okay.
What are you doing? In the epic of Burning Wheel books, right? They have Burning Wheel. They got the character burner, which is part of Burning Wheel. This is the same thing. They go together. It just happens to be 2 separate physical books. They had a monster burner, which needs some updating, and there's some erratas on it because it's so old. They got the magic burner, right? That's out. And now the summer secret surprise of 2010. The adventure burner. It's coming. The pre-order already happened and ended immediately because they filled up, but that's okay because you're going to be able to buy one just non-pre-order. It's not something you have to pre-order to get. It's just pre-order
as long as
to
they
get
keep
it
selling
signed
out.
and numbered and all that crap.
As long as they keep selling out, they're going to keep being printed.
Yeah, so just, you can just buy one when it's all good. When, they only pre-ordered 200, but there's going to be thousands printed, so you'll be all set. And this book, basically, what the Adventure Burner is sort of a GM's guide, right? It has a lot of advice for GM and commentary. It's like the Talmud of Burning Wheel. But also...
That's so apt.
But also, it has like a bunch of adventures in it, right? It has the sword and a few other adventures, an updated version of the sword, mind you. So, like, if you need to get started with Burning Wheel... this is probably everyone in your group should buy the regular books, and then the GM should also buy this book. And you can leave, and then if the GM reads the Adventure Burner, then he'll really, have a good idea of how to get started and whatever. And you won't need to, go to the wiki and print stuff out or anything like that.
So Actually,
And it's green. It's a
for
green
any of you
book.
listeners who, we talk about Burning Wheel a lot, who are interested but haven't played it, or the most common thing we get is people saying, I want to play it, but I feel like I got to learn the system better, or some excuse
You
like
only
that.
have to read the first 75 pages of the brown
Just
book.
dive into it. We've been getting more and more kind of success stories from listeners who say things like, yeah, I finally just played Burning Wheel and holy shit. And then they tell us like the crazy thing that happened in their first game.
The thing is, I must admit, those success stories come more often from people who play at a con versus people who just try it out on their own without having, the experience or any reference.
Yeah, the con one-off is really like the faster way to learn.
Because if you just go from the books, like you won't fully grok just the words. Some people do, but a lot of people they don't fully grok just going on the books alone.
Especially
And
if
with
you're
their
not an experienced role player.
Yeah, and even if they have previous role playing knowledge, their previous role playing knowledge clouds their reading of the books, and you really need to have that con experience to it helps significantly. And once but you only need it like once. You need it for like a few minutes just to sort of be like, oh, and then you'll read the book with the correct perspective. I don't know, maybe, getting some videos of like proper play can help people sort of get the con experience by proxy.
Huh, wonder if that's in the hopper.
Maybe it's in the hopper. Yeah.
So things of the day. I had to cop out a little bit. I was trying to find a video of some awesome Counterstrike griefing, but people do play Counterstrike, don't know how to make YouTube videos.
They're too busy playing Counter-Strike.
So instead, I've got this video of what the American food aisle looks like in a grocery store somewhere else. Because in America, you go to like the grocery store and they have like the Hispanic food section and the Asian food section. Apparently, Americans eat nothing but ketchup, mayonnaise, Swiss Miss. This is pretty good.
Yeah, it's chocolate barbecue stuff.
Yep.
Maybe some apple pie.
And
that
Swiss
kinda-
Miss.
Yeah, lots of chocolate. I think that what we should do is we should go to like food, ethnic food sections for other countries because they'd probably be interested to see. Like if we went to like say like I don't know the like if we took a picture of our Chinese food section where they've got like soy sauces.
Here's the problem. Usually we need like a Chinese person or someone who speaks Chinese to make the video and then show it to other Chinese friends. If we make it, it's just some American's YouTube. Who's even going to know to click on it?
Yeah. Oh.
Maybe we should start a thing and get people to send us videos of the American food aisle in all their countries and then compile them together.
Well, I want to sort of, there's like a whole bunch of things. It's pretty much the show me my country and your country shtick, right? It's
My
like,
favorite
I want to
thing.
see you people try to, what do I sound like?
My favorite thing
and then
is
I
people
will
making
say
fun of
what-
American accents.
Yeah, and then I will say what Chinese sounds like.
Like at
and then-
Otakon before, where that the Australian guy was like, "You Americans really say your R's, like R, hello there,
Yeah.
Metal
that's-
Gear."
Why shouldn't we?
It's pretty much the best letter.
I'm just gonna remove the letter N. All right, ready? When we go to the
You were about to
word
say a whole
that
bunch of words that
I
don't
wanna-
have ends in them.
man, I really like to eat a ba'ah.
You sound like kind of an upper class twit in England.
Ba'ah.
Banana.
Ba'ah.
Bye.
Ba'ah. Anyway.
So yeah, that's all I got.
All right, so I saw this poster on Kotaku. It's a big JPEG or whatever, and basically what it is a poster that says how to beat Mario 3 in 11 minutes. And all the poster is it's basically a string of buttons. It's like, right, up, A, right, B, then A.
So wait, Mario 3?
Yeah, Mario 3.
So if you just want to beat it, it's basically getting the warp whistles and otherwise holding right and holding B.
Well, and hitting
Occasionally
A,
hitting A.
You hit an A pretty much a whole bunch of times, and whenever he jumps on a bad guy, there's a second string that shows you all the bad guys he jumps on.
Ooh, I like that.
So it's and it even shows you like how to you have to push start on the menu and go select the first world. It starts out by saying push right and then push up and then push A to enter world 1-1. So. If you follow these instructions, you can beat the game.
See, what it doesn't give you is timestamps.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. I guess we should do the meta moment.
Oh, shit, meta moment.
Yeah, I forgot, eh? The book club book is currently The Lies of Loch Lamora. Scott picked it. I'm reading it. It's
He's
pretty good
actually
so far.
reading it. Holy crap.
I read Cosmos like right away.
What are you talking about? You said you weren't done with it yet until like the last minute.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe if Rim continues to read quickly, then we can do book club more often.
Watch out. The more quickly we finish it, the more I'll pick my book. I'm leaning toward Thus Spake Zarathustra.
That's not that long.
No, it really
I
isn't.
got that for free on my iBooks.
Uh-huh.
See, iBooks is all evil, but you know what? There's some free Project Gutenberg books in there, so why not? And it's free, so who cares?
All right. Kineticon is not this weekend, but next weekend.
No, I thought it was the weekend after that.
No, July 9th, 10th.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, time's slipping.
Fuck
Yes.
me.
I'm sending the final addendum schedule to print tonight. So
I'm going to have to prepare my panel that needs preparing this
Oh,
weekend.
do you want to reveal what the panel is? It's in the schedule,
It's
so
not
it's
a
not like you
big
can hide it.
deal. I mean, I'm just, we're doing a lot of panels, right? I want to go over our panels since it's so soon.
Oh, God, we're doing like anime you should see. I don't remember offhand. We're doing a lot of management of panels. Like bite-sized animes in there somewhere. Hatsune Miku.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else in there?
I think we're doing our gaming panels too. I forget.
All right, whatever. We got a lot of panels going on because we're running them, so we just gave them to
A lot
ourselves.
of the front row crew panels too, like Beer
Okay.
and Uncle Yo.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So Kineticon is in Hartford, Connecticut. It'll be exciting.
Yep. Other cons are coming up, but we don't have a lot of announcements about those yet. You should probably look into getting your plane tickets for PAX and your hotels and your pre-regs because it'll
PAX
sell
West.
out.
We're talking about West.
Yeah, PAX Prime because it's gonna sell out.
Yep. Also, we've talked about this before. The New York Comic Con and New York Anime Festival have combined into a MegaCon. Of
Not to
doom.
be confused with MegaCon.
No, but it's a MegaCon, literally an UberCon of doom.
Funnily, I don't think MegaCon would qualify
Not
as
to be
a
confused
MegaCon,
with UberCon. Anyway.
which is even smaller than MegaCon.
Yes. Anyway, this con is October, I think, 8, 9, 10.
Yes.
But at the same weekend is 10, 10, 10, the Burning Wheel Con.
Ten.
In Astoria, New York, because the original Burning Wheel came out in 5505. So now on 10, 10, 10, they're having a Burning Wheel convention.
So if we use Mod 12, then on 15, 15, 15, we'll have another one of these.
So we're going to try to hit up both somehow. We have a lot of responsibilities probably at the, New York Anime Comic-Con.
My suggestion to you, because there's a lot of awesome stuff going on at the New York Comic-Con, New York Anime Festival, a lot of gaming stuff too. I would go to the New York Comic-Con Anime Festival either one day, just Friday, or I would go Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday, the actual 10, 10, 10.
Yeah, but the thing is, most of the action at the 10, 10, 10 is Friday and the Saturday.
So the optimal solution is to go to the New York Comic-Con Anime Festival on Friday, 10, 10, 10 on 10, 9, 10.
No, here's my suggestion, right? If you are someone who really, if your primary thing is you really want some role-playing action, like, right? Then you should go to the 10, 10, 10, probably Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, probably.
And then if your thing is you'll go to the New York Comic Con Anime Festival, Mega Giant Con Sunday only, but you don't, you're not that interested in it, so you don't have to go to any events. Just walk both floors, and that'll be that, right? Whereas if you really, the role playing is secondary to you, right? What you should do is you should go to the Uber Mega Whatever Con, right? Saturday and Sunday, when most of the big events are on those days. And then if you go to the 10, 10, 10 on Friday, there's some stuff happening there.
Well, that would be
and
10, 8, 10.
Actually, I think the Friday is only a party.
Yeah, that's what I'm
actually.
saying. Friday's the best day to go to the Uber Mega.
Okay,
Big
so Friday,
Con.
no matter what, go to the Mega UberCon. And then pretty much your decision is just Saturday, right?
Our goal, we're probably going to do most of our stuff at this con because we've already got scheduling happening and everything. We're going to be at the New York Comic Con, New York Anime Festival doing big stuff.
Yeah, we're going to try to come to the 10, 10, 10, but if we go at all, it'll be on the Sunday. I'd really like to go. Maybe we can do the stuff at the con Friday, and then isn't the party Friday night? Maybe we can go to...
Oh, yeah, because we don't need to be there late.
Yeah, we'll see. We got to work out with...
Well, we might have to be there late if we do something.
We don't know when we're going to be there. We have to figure it out.
Yeah, we might even be trying out some of the stuff.
We might even be taxiing and subwaying back and forth. Who knows?
I could see that.
We'll
play it by ear, but we will let you know of our schedule once we have it for both events, and you'll have to pick what's more important to you. But if you're in New York, especially if you don't live in New York...
Yeah, they're both in New York, so you could actually go back and forth on the same day. No problem.
You should, and in fact, they're not that far apart. Where is 10, 10, 10? In Astoria somewhere?
Yeah, it's in Astoria.
Yeah, you know what? The
someplace.
7 train pretty much goes almost directly there.
Well, no, you'd have to basically...
And transfer to the end.
Well,
Yeah.
no, you could go from the Javits to 34th Street,
Oh,
and
get on the N directly.
Take on the NQ, N or Q, because the W is gone now, and take the N or Q all the way there, and then walk. And that would be like 20-ish. Well, plus the walking, it might take you a half
Actually,
hour
you know
to make
what?
the trip.
Shared cabs might be the best bet because the cab can go straight over. We're not going to get into this. We're New Yorkers. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, on the weekend, it'll probably take a half hour to make that trip.
I think that's all the meta we've got. Everything else is in the hopper.
I'm sure we have some other meta that I can't remember right now.
Yeah, we got big stuff coming for PAX Prime and PAX East and the next PAX Prime and the next PAX East and all that stuff.
Yep.
So we were at the New York NYC, nerd event, the Recess.
Nerd NYC Recess. Yes, it is
the other weekend.
It is a semi-annual sort of convention. It's not really a convention as much as it is a day of gaming. They rent out a space. Everyone pays $20, but you don't have to pay if you're running a game. And then everyone just plays games for, all day.
Yep, it's a mixed bag because it's role-playing games and board games, and there's a lot of free gaming, but it's pretty much Russian roulette in terms of if you join a game, you don't know the game master, whether or not it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, I mean, there's game descriptions, and you sign up for games. There's a big line to sign up, and this whole thing going on. But we had someone who really wanted us to play in their game in the afternoon, and we played Game of Thrones board game in the morning.
Yeah,
we don't need to talk about that as much.
I got to play it one more time before we talk about it.
Yeah, let's save that. But in the afternoon, we played a role playing game, and the person running it was the guy who made the game.
Yep.
What was his name again?
It was either Ben Lehman or Joshua A.C. Newman.
It was Joshua A.C. Newman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we played his RPG, which is called
Shock. Social science fiction.
Social science fiction.
So,
whatcha? You want Shock? Okay.
It was Shock!
So before we talk about how Shock works, because I'll say this is a game that I think we're going to add to the list of games at the end of Beyond Dungeons & Dragons whenever we run it again, because it illustrates a couple of things that all the other games don't illustrate. For one, it illustrates the GM-less game, the game that requires no game master whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like I didn't even realize it because he was basically teaching us how to play his game, and then after we actually started playing, I was like, oh, there's no GM. I didn't even realize it.
He has no more power than me.
Didn't even realize it until we actually got into it, that he wasn't actually going to GM this game, that we were just going to go for it.
And two, novel mechanic. Of all the novel mechanics, this is the one that will stand out. Like this, if you were going to tweet about this game, this is what you would tweet. You basically decide as a group, like in the court, like when you're making the world you're going to play in, here are the two opposite sets of ways of resolving conflict. So we made one that was consumption versus creation. So any conflict that went in that side, you'd basically have to either frame your conflict in terms of you consuming or you creating.
And you can't be good at both. You have to be better at one than the other.
And then you also have to frame what you're doing in that context.
You could be in the middle, but then you basically suck at everything.
Which, think about that. Deciding what means of conflict you will have kind of frames the debate. It frames what your game's going to be about. Kind of like how the innate rules of Burning Wheel frame the game as being about duels of wits and punching, all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the set of conflicts that we came up with first, the ones that kind of stood out, you could resolve a conflict with either space battle or sex.
Well, it was originally space battle and something else, and then our second set.
Every time we tell the story, you always interrupt and say, "Oh, this whole backstory of how we got to that." I think just the revelation of space battle versus sex is all that matters.
You can't be leaving out important details
because it wasn't that important.
It was important.
What's important about it? Go on.
It's important because it's how it went down, right? It was space battle and something else, right? And then we were like, okay, space battle and something, and then what's the other one going to be? Well, sex and something. And I was like, wait a minute. Why can't it just be space battle and sex together? And everyone was like, oh, shit. And then that was actually what we did. It was like, holy crap.
Space battle got used a lot more than sex did.
Yeah, there wasn't too much sex.
But there was, the sex
what upset me about it
didn't get made because someone rolled well.
Yeah, what upset me the most about that, right, wasn't that, space battle versus sex is awesome. What wasn't awesome is that I couldn't be good at space battles and sex.
Well, you were playing Harlock, so
who is good at space battles and sex. He's good at both those things.
Now, this might sound silly, but really think about it. So, the idea was that you have to frame the conflict in terms of your character's achieving what he wants through space battle or through sex. Because the whole idea was the intimate conflict versus the distant, massive space battle, the impersonal, fleet on fleet action, or one guy and one other guy sweaty and alone. I guess a girl. But actually, neither, the way our game went.
Yeah.
So the real shtick of this game is that every player kind of, you sit down and you make the world, and then you play a game in the world.
Yeah, there's no predefined campaign setting. This is a make-up. It's not even a situation like Dread where the GM makes some questionnaires and then the questionnaires define part of the world, but then the answers to the questions define the rest of the world and the characters. This is, you start with nothing, right? And every player, picks something they want to be in the world, and that's what makes the world, exist. So you start from nothing. I guess Burning Empires sort of does the same thing. It has like charts where you build the world when you're starting, and then after you have chosen what things you want to be in the world, you pick a shock. And the shock is like the setting. So our shock was what? Around Jupiter?
We're in space in Jupiter, far away from Earth.
Right.
Colonies and such.
So basically it turns into sort of like a battleship kind of situation. Down the left side of this grid, you have all the different aspects of the world and then how they interact with the shock as they cross it, on the other axis there. Like those little logic puzzles in the that you get in those little, puzzly dude.
Oh yeah,
pencil
Joe
magazine.
had the poison, but the poison killed Sue, but Sue was in the attic, and you figure out who killed who at the end. And
yeah, what room was Joe in?
Yep. But the cool thing is the way this works is every player brings to the table one issue, and everyone gets to bring one. So I brought in like foreign containment policy, and then Scott was like piracy, and then someone else was like gender roles.
I like to point out you tried to be fancy with the containment policy that didn't really come into play ever.
Yeah, it did. My military containment policy worked really well.
Anyway.
Though I died. But so everyone brings something to the table, but then every player takes ownership of one of the ideas. Probably not the one they brought to the table.
Yeah, the one you own isn't necessarily the one that you came up with. So I owned the gender role thing. I didn't own piracy. Someone else owned piracy. And when you own an issue, that means that you define everything there is about that issue in the world. So someone just came up with piracy, but the other guy actually detailed what the deal was with piracy. Pretty much the only thing that I said was piracy, and all the other details are made up by the owner of piracy, and there's really no disputing an issue concerning piracy. The owner just declares what it's going to be.
Yep.
So
Now,
this is why you need no GM, right? Because a GM will tell you what's going on in the world, how piracy works, how gender works in this world. But instead, you just sort of divide up the GMing duties.
So someone's still GMing. Yeah, it's like distributed game mastering.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you define how the monsters work, and you define how the traps work, and you define how the weather works, and then we'll be able to sort of collectively GM this world together.
Now, someone also owns the shock. And if we play multiple games, like you keep adding shocks. But
I didn't read all the rules because he just taught us to play and we played. I never even looked at the rule book. Shorter than, I guess I looked at it, but I didn't read any words in it. I wonder if you can have multiple shocks at once because in a demo game, we just had one shock and that was it.
But like I own the shock. So we sat down, in the game creation, I had an index card and I wrote down like stuff about the world. And I was like, all right, he's like, all right, you own the shock. Tell me about, us living around Jupiter. And I'm like, okay, there's one big colony and there's all these little colony and I made up the world. And then other people will be like, wouldn't it be cool if it was like this? And I'm like, yeah. Or
we can't dictate, but we can offer advice and suggestions. And if they like that, they can incorporate it. But the owner determines.
If the owner doesn't say something, or if someone else brings forth an idea, they basically need a second. Because if only one person brings up an idea and everyone else really doesn't have anything to say, clearly no one's really invested in the idea, so it kind of falls flat. But if two people are like, no, it should be that way, like it adds more weight to it, it works out.
Collaborative storytelling?
Yeah.
Gasp.
See, this rounds out our Beyond D&D because it shows the game that's more collaborative and less like game mechanic-y.
Yep. Now, the last thing that was interesting about this game, Shock, right, is that it's a turn-taking RPG. I'm starting to really like the turn-taking RPG.
Yep, Mouse Guard does it really well.
Well, Mouse Guard has GM turn, player turn, but actually...
But it also modifies that with the fact that the players have to earn their checks during the Game Master's turn, and they can only roll the dice if they earn checks.
That's correct. But the Pronto Adventures is actually turn-taking. It's, okay, your turn to do a scene, your turn to do a scene. You go around the table doing scenes. And this is sort of the same thing, kind of. Basically, you go around the table, and everyone actually has two characters, a protagonist and an antagonist.
And you have two sides of your sheet. So on the front side, I keep, shooing everything today. I have my character, the protagonist. Now, every protagonist is for a particular issue, but it can't be the issue that you as the player own.
So that's why I didn't own piracy, even though I added to the game, because my protagonist was for piracy.
Yep, my protagonist was like foreign containment policy, but the issue I own was economic force.
Uh-huh. So anyway, what happens is on somebody's turn, or at least on the first turn, right, of the whole that you take as a protagonist, you say, "What are you doing that day?" Like it's like, "Hey, what are you doing today?"
Yep.
And you say what you're doing that day.
So
and
like,
then
let's go through like the first round of the game because it actually like all the examples and stuff came up. So I was like, all right, my protagonist for this force policy, I decided he is the leader, like he's the military leader of like the biggest in like the USA of this outer world. So I'm like, all right, I am before the Senate because I decided, my antagonist is the president, like the other side of the government, the civilian government. And I'm like, all right. And I am advocating that we launch a preemptive strike against this like this one colony that has fallen to piracy. And I had all these goals and, we won't get into all the mechanics. So, the way we play the game is, all right, everyone who's not involved in the scene just played like some senator or like some member of the press and like threw questions at me or just kind of, they played a character and just did whatever they want with it. And meanwhile, the antagonist played the president and was like basically fighting against me. And we argued and played the scene out for a bit. And then eventually it came down to, so what do you want to achieve? Burning Wheel style. So I'm like, I want to achieve a media blackout. And followed by that, under the course of the media blackout, we fucking invade and colonize and conquer and fix this colony and get rid of all the piracy.
Yep. So when it's your turn, you basically tell a little story about what you want to do and what you want to achieve. And then your antagonist, the person sitting to your right, or your left comes and they, come at you and try to fuck up whatever you were trying to do.
But they have to do it in an oblique way. So the way it works is I stated my goal. I'm going to divide my dice between attacking and defending, basically, different kinds of dice. Again, forgetting the mechanics. My antagonist doesn't just fight against me directly. He'll roll defense against what I wanted to achieve. He'll also have his own oblique goal.
So, like, let's say Rim is a soldier and he wants to, defeat some enemies in a war, right?
Yep, so my role is pretty much, do we win the battle or not?
Right, so Rim's offense dice are win the war, and the antagonist defense dice are prevent Rim from winning the war.
And you can zoom in and out as far. It could go down to a fist fight or all the way out to like two civilizations, like one of them survives.
But then the antagonist comes up with something else. He doesn't, it's not winning or losing the war.
So he might even be like, the president orders an assassination of you to prevent this military coup that they see coming.
Yep, okay, so now the offense...
So now I'm like, oh shit, I got to defend against that. I don't want to die.
The offense dice of the antagonist are for the assassination, and the defense dice of Rim are against the assassination. So maybe both things will happen. Maybe neither one will happen. Maybe one will happen and the other won't.
So say I lose one, I lose my winning the war, or I lose the other one. I'll have these links. They're kind of like contacts, like my daughter or my manliness. And I could say, you know what? I want to re-roll by risking this link, by risking some horrible complication come up with by the antagonist about this. Like, oh, your daughter died in the battle. Things like that. And the antagonist can do the same thing with their links. And then you kind of play it all out. And once we've rolled the dice, all the other people who aren't involved in the left-right scene...
Yeah, because you're taking turns and only two people are going at a time, everyone else at the table just participates by throwing in like little dice,
So they roll
one
like a
dice
D4, and whoever has the highest roll at any moment can be like, you know what? I'm going to tip it in favor of him getting what he wants.
Yeah, it's pretty much just the audience votes on which way they like it to go. Based on what they're hearing from the people. So you want to role play really well because you're trying to entertain the audience and also convince them that the direction you're taking the story is the direction you want to go so that their dice will help you get your way.
And it's interesting meta because sometimes the audience will push it toward what their own protagonist wants in an oblique way.
Yep.
They're metagaming and it works. And sometimes they'll say, you know what? It's totally fucking awesome if you get assassinated.
It's also... what I like about it is that because all these guys are sort of separate, right? You don't really need to have the protagonists like meet up with each other at all, or anything, or be in a party or even know each other. It's like all these separate stories of a world. It's like, it's almost like Hyperion, right? Where you have, for most of the book, you have all these separate characters in the same universe doing their separate things. And then only at the end is it tied together. But even in Shaka, it doesn't even need to be tied together. So... you actually get like more than one story instead of like this one cohesive story. And it actually, that a lot of the sci-fi books are like quite like that. And
Yeah.
other role-playing games don't really do a good job of telling that kind of story.
They also, the stories all kind of link and like they still fit in the context because
The issues and the shock are all the same in every character's story.
yep, they pull, so everything kind of pulls together and you just keep going around until the story is resolved.
Yeah, so I mean,
Until one player has achieved.
you can't be killed on the first go around, right? Oh, you have a goal, by the way. You just come up with a goal, and that's what you're trying to get.
Yep, and you can be anything. Like my character's goal was the complete and total military subjugation of the entire Jupiter system.
Mine was a revolution because I loved the like Captain Harlock, right?
You love Nova.
He loves Earth, but Earth is currently a piece of shit, so he wants a revolution on Earth to fix it, so Earth is not a piece of shit anymore. And I achieved that perfectly. I was 100% win.
Yep. But the system, like it made a good story. It was really fun to play.
It didn't take that long. It didn't take a lot of preparation.
But it's fun.
It wasn't difficult to learn
I think
anything.
two things that make it really fun are one, because you go around and you can't kill anyone until the second time around, people fucking go out for blood. So the first time around is like the setting up. And then the next one around, it's like people die and everything like just accelerates to the end.
Yeah, because on turn 1, you can't kill anyone. So what you do is you basically give yourself a soft toss, right? And then on turn 2, you try to hit a home run.
Now,
and every turn afterwards, you try to hit a home run over and over
the
again.
antagonists, they basically, they don't have a skill for rolling like you do. Because they don't just play a character, they play all the forces of the world arrayed against you, your protagonist.
Yep.
So they have like 14 or some number of dice for the whole game.
Period.
And they
Session.
they pick for each, go around how many they'll roll.
They have a
against
maximum
you.
of 6, right?
Something like
Yeah,
that.
so it's like, okay, I got in this whole game we're gonna play, I can have 14 dice. So, okay, what's Rim trying to do? Oh, he's trying to do this. Well, I'll only use 3 dice now. Oh, he's trying to do something really awesome, huh? I'm using 6, making sure that doesn't happen. Fuck Rim. Okay, I better save him for later. He's not doing something that big right now. I'll let him get away with this real easy. Oh, now I gotta make it hard. So the antagonist is really, they have this difficulty meter and they can use the amount of the difficulty meter they want to use each time. And at the end of the game, they eventually use the whole difficulty meter and they're done.
Now, the other thing related to this that makes the game really, really fun is that because you play a protagonist and the antagonist, you kind of get to do all the stuff that you might have done in another role-playing game, but you didn't because you didn't want to risk your character. You kind of get to play.
Yeah, because I mean, I definitely, I don't know if you're supposed to, right? Like favor the protagonist or the antagonist. I guess your protagonist has a goal, which makes you favor it a little more.
I kind of used my antagonist to further the goals of my protagonist because I thought it was interesting that way.
Yeah, but I mean, my antagonist, I was basically just like, I don't really care about the antagonist. I'm not invested in them because I didn't really, so I was mostly just trying to, use the rules with the antagonist, be as much of a dick as possible, and really, which you're forced to do, right? When you're a protagonist, you can fail if you want to, but when you're an antagonist, you're forced, mechanically to come down as hard as possible on the person you're antagonizing.
Now, the only, I guess, drawback I could see in this game, like the major one, and it's not necessarily a drawback, it's kind of like how Burning Wheel really only works well if you're already kind of experienced in role-playing. Like, it's kind of like the advanced tool. Shock requires that you are pretty creative. You don't have to be a good storyteller. It basically, if you were creative at all, it'll funnel your creativity into an awesome story.
Yep.
But if you have zero creativity, you'll sit there and they turn to you like, all right, you own like nuclear weapons as the Shock. Like, oh shit, nuclear weapons. Or the policy of like mutually assured destruction. Tell us about that in this world. Like if you freeze there, you're going to have some trouble.
I'm not freezing. I'll tell you what. You know what? Mutually assured destruction, it already happened. And you know what? There's still some people alive, but you know what? There's still some nukes left. It could happen again easily. So, and that would be pretty awesome right there.
So you got to be able to think on your feet and be able to listen to someone else's cool idea and shit all over it.
And also, lots of cool ideas, and they all get to happen for awesomeness.
I will probably talk about this game again once we've played it on our own and read the rules.
Yeah, I got to order a copy.
So this is all based on one playing, but
there's
I was
also an
impressed.
expansion, like Horizon something.
Yeah, or human contact.
Yeah. Anyway, the thing that I also like about this game a lot is that most RPGs, right, require a lot of preparation. Either a GM has to prepare or players have to prepare, and there's like this huge like setup of some kind, right? Like Dread, well, the GM has to come up with the questionnaire or use the pre-built one, and it takes a while. Everyone's just sitting there writing answers to questions. Or Burning Wheel, everyone has to make characters. The GM has to cover the setting, right? There's a lot to do before you can play. In this game, you don't need to prepare beforehand. You can just be like a board game. You can be like, hey, let's play Shock.
Because the preparation is part of the game.
But the preparation isn't boring, sitting around rolling up characters, everyone gets drained. It actually feels like you're playing as soon as you start building the world.
Because we started having debate, like gender issues, like someone owned that issue. And
that was me.
Yeah, but it really got really interesting really quick, and everyone got invested. It's a game.
Yeah, because you're collaborating in the preparation part, whereas I feel like when you're rolling up characters for D&D or Burning Wheel, there's less collaborating going on. You're picking your own life paths. You're not, you're not picking other people's life paths.
There should be more collaboration, but that's just a meta
We could come up with a system where everyone gets to pick everyone else's. You pick life paths in a shared way.
Well, that's the old classic like Dungeons and Dragons scenario where you tell a character to make like a 15th level awesome badass, give them all these rules, and then you take all their character sheets away, give them level 1 characters, and say these are your enemies. I like that idea. Of course, it really works best if the players don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, now they all know. You just gave it away.
Yeah. Well, no, you gotta trick them. Like,
but Shock does it without trickery, and it's also science fiction. And you know what? It's really hard. Science fiction role playing games that are good are few and far between. Right? Most of them are
just D&D with like lasers.
Yeah, exactly. Like
and you notice how many sci-fi quote unquote role playing games have melee combat being equally effective to all other forms of scientific combat?
Like space lasers.
Yeah.
Or they're sci-fi RPGs, which means when you want to do spaceships, you stop and play a turn-based strategy game of spaceships. Yeah, it's not really that exciting.
So it was awesome, and we'll talk about it again, but I'd recommend if you're really into role-playing, you check this shit out.
Yeah, I'll get it, and also Free Market is similar in this way. You can just whip it out anytime. Just like, oh, let's play it. You don't have to plan in advance. You don't have to be like, all right, everyone, come over to my house at 1, we're going to play game for 6 hours.
Oh my God.
It only takes 2 or 3, maybe 4 hours tops to play Shock. As
an aside, we saw the final, what Free Market looks like the physical thing you get if you bought it.
There's pictures on the internet.
Yeah, but it is pretty substantial. It is weighty.
Yeah, it's a hard game to run. I've played it once. I'm pretty confident that I could run it, but it is also the kind of thing that you can just whip out. The creation is a little less collaborative, but it's still all right. So we'll talk about Free Market once, more than just me has played it. We get some more experience there. And, when the box shows up and such and such.
This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geek Nights is not 1, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geek Nights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geek Nights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.